50% of the children that are murdered in the womb each year are males. If each gender is only qualified to make decisions pertaining to its own gender, shouldn't it follow that women who are pregnant with male children aren't qualified to make that decision to end the life of a male? Again to plead with you to make Raleigh a sanctuary city for the unborn. As I continue to deal with objections to making abortion illegal, this month I'd like to address this question. Is abortion simply a women's issue that men have no right to speak on? Are men only interested in preventing women's rights? That's the question. Here's the argument from the pro-abortion crowd. Men don't have uteruses, nor can they become pregnant or know what it's like, so they should just remain silent. Ending an unborn child's life should be left up to a woman and her doctor. But this type of thinking is problematic for several reasons. Number one, when women procure abortions, they are doing so because they've been impregnated by men. Women can't get pregnant without men, therefore the babies inside these women also belong to men. Fathers should have equal rights to determine what happens to their own children. In addition, nearly 50% of the children that are murdered in the womb each year are males. If each gender is only qualified to make decisions pertaining to its own gender, shouldn't it follow that women who are pregnant with male children aren't qualified to make that decision to end the life of a male? Two, if men have no right to speak on this issue, shouldn't the pro-abort crowd reject the Roe v. Wade decision made by 9 all-male justices? Shouldn't they stop giving money to male politicians who speak regularly about abortion? Most importantly, shouldn't they stop going to abortion mills in this country where the vast majority of abortionists are males? It's funny how if men affirm abortion, they're qualified to speak, but if they disagree, their opinion is no longer valid. Finally, if this type of reasoning is correct, it would apply to a whole host of other situations. Take slavery as an example. Would it be reasonable for a slave owner... Stop my time. Stop my time. Stop my time. Listen and you'll understand. Listen and you'll understand. Finally, if this type of reasoning is correct, it would apply to a whole host of other situations. Take slavery as an example. Would it be reasonable for a slave owner to say, you can't object to slavery unless you've personally owned or lost slaves. You don't know what it's like to lose slaves. Or what about a man who beats his wife? Can single people object to wife beating? They don't know what it's like to be married or have a wife. How about men who molest little boys? Can women object to this? They don't have male genitalia and they don't know what it's like to be a man or a little boy. Who are they to judge? Of course, it's easy to see that each of these examples are morally reprehensible and they should be condemned by any rational thinking human being, regardless of their gender, marital status, or whether they've owned slaves. This type of thinking is absurd and it should be rejected, but it's just this type of thinking that is used by supporters of abortion to try to stifle the conversation. The fact is, abortion is not a gender issue, it's a human rights issue. Men aren't trying to take away women's rights, but rather they're advocating for the rights of tiny women in the womb to live. Abortion is a great evil and injustice that is occurring in our city every day for both men and women, and both genders should be standing up with one voice condemning it. In Matthew 25, Jesus states the way someone treats the most vulnerable and helpless in our society is the way that they are ultimately treating him. How are you treating the unborn, City Council? This is the way you're treating Christ, and you will be held accountable. Abortion is murder. No, I was interrupted, and I'm almost done. I was interrupted. I was interrupted, and they used 30 seconds of my time.
You're not a woman! Sir, if you're not using your time, you stop on your own.
That's right. He made the announcement. He said that they are to be respectful and to allow us to say what we need to say.
You're not going to make any other points.
I have a major point I'd like to make.